So here's part 2 of our planning series. We're gonna take this concept. We did some brainstorming in the last video, a little bit of a brain dump. We did some praying. Hopefully you were able to take your time with this and really sit in it for a little bit, pray over it, and ask God to give you some clear direction. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna take that and we're gonna set it aside. So right where we can see it, because what we're gonna do now is we're gonna draw two sections, one line on our paper. And we're gonna do a to-do and a not to-do list. So I'm gonna look at my list that I made here, and I would have fleshed this out a little bit more, but the first thing that I wrote down is 30 minutes a day in the Bible, or I wanted to do the Bible plan. So on my to-do list, and then I'm gonna write don't over here. I'm gonna write down set aside. I did 30 minutes and then I did 15 minutes. So I want 45 minutes a day. Maybe for you, it's 15 minutes total. Maybe it's 5 minutes. You're taking little baby steps. But I'm gonna write down 45 minutes Bible. Then I'm gonna look down here. Maybe I have 2 or 3 more things that I wanna do. I wanna start a Bible study 1 hour a week that I'm gonna go join some other ladies. I might write that. Actually, I already do that 2 hours a week. Study. And I'm gonna write my friend's name because I do it at her house. Whatever those things are, your to-dos, you're gonna add those to the list. I'm gonna move on to my second section, soul. I wrote down that I wanted to be more thankful. So I'm gonna write, get thankful journal. I actually have too many journals, so in my case, probably what I would do is put a Post-it note in my big journal and create a thankfulness section. I want to be more hospitable. Okay, now we're going to kind of drill this down a little bit. Why? What does that mean? Do I want to, kind of looking forward over here to this section where we created the family, our personal family, the body of Christ, and then my neighbor, looking at that as people who maybe don't know the Lord. Specifically, how do I feel led to be more hospitable? Spend some time praying about this, asking God to give clarity and leading. For me, it kind of goes in seasons. I might have periods of time where I feel like it's important for me to spend more time with my actual street neighbors and work on investing in those relationships in a way that's transformative, in a way that's life-changing. Maybe it's just spending more time with them. Maybe it's organizing a block party. Or other times I'm in a season where I feel like it's really important for me to invest in my relationships with the body. I need to make a date with our pastor and his wife for a game night, or maybe it's my personal family. I need to set everything else aside. We need to drop some things off the calendar, and I need to really focus on family time. So I'm gonna write those things down specifically. For instance, we're gonna do a 1 hour family date a week, or a 15-minute family devotion a day. Whatever those things may be, pray about them, ask them, God, where are some areas where I can lean more into what you call me to do with my life, my days, my hours, and then I'm gonna add that on here. And then for me to make that happen, I gotta have a don't here. I've got to drop off, and this is something actually I did recently, no TV during the week. Actually, we said no screens. And this may change seasonally. This may be something that's way harsh for you. I realized for me, I was checking out early in the evening. I was ready to curl up with Netflix or curl up with my laptop, and it was very easy to check out. And so I'm gonna say, in order for me to make these things happen, I'm gonna have to eliminate something somewhere. So that's going on my don't list. Moving on to this next, might. My body, I wrote down lose X number of pounds. I want to work out a couple of times a week. Actually 3 to 4 times for me. So I'm gonna write 4 times. I am going to walk. I want to get outside more often. It's hard for me to do that in the winter. I don't like to be freezing, but I'm going to say 2 times a week, because even up north, I'm guaranteed that we'll get a nice sunny day at least a couple of times a week. So in order for that to happen, I'm going to have to say, I am not going to, what might that be? I'm not going to read in the afternoon 2 times a week. As much as I like a good book in the winter, because I'm going to instead walk. And then I'm going to give this a quantified, measurable time and date. So I'm going to say Tuesday, Thursday. Now listen, people, I'm brainstorming here. Don't hold me to these yet. But I'm going to say Tuesday, Thursday afternoons is my goal to walk for an hour with Ollie, our pup. If you haven't seen Olive, she's a sweetheart. She's our little golden doodle. Okay, so whatever that might be, quantify it. Give it a time, give it a date or a day of the week, give it something measurable so that you know you're moving forward. If I know that I want to lose X number of pounds and I know that I want to eliminate dairy, which is what I wrote down in the last video, then I know I'm going to say, don't buy ice cream. Or maybe I buy it for my family, but I don't buy the special kind that I like to buy. Whatever that might be, I'm going to do my don't, but I'm going to add, what's one thing I can do to accomplish towards this goal? Maybe I want to lose X weight. Well, I've got already my walk. I've added my workout. Maybe I'm going to add a protein smoothie in the mornings. Okay, so this is kind of to give you an idea of what that's going to look like. I'm going to do the same thing with this section as well. I wrote down that I wanted to spend 20 minutes a day with my littlest. So, littlest, he's 12 now, not so little. But I'm going to write down maybe what time of day that would be. Maybe that's going to be at 5:30 when I'm prepping dinner. And our oldest at home right now is at sports practice. Maybe that's going to be in the evening. We're going to read together right before bed. But I'm going to give that a quantifiable amount of time and write down when I think I could accomplish that. And maybe I realize something else has got to go off the calendar to make that happen. I am not going to do this or this. Maybe I look at my things that I have set aside as goals and I realize, oh, I wanted to take the dog for a walk 2 days a week for an hour. I can combine those two things together and I can kill two birds with one stone. I can accomplish two things that I really feel like the Lord is calling me to do, to prioritize loving Him, loving people, and celebrating home together. Maybe I look down and I realize I've written, I want to have tea with a neighbor. Maybe there's one particular neighbor that I'm praying for. And I realize, hey, I can combine those things. Instead of going for a walk or instead of screens on weeknights, I realize that gives me an extra, I hate to admit it, probably hour a night that I could spend just maybe going over to visit with a neighbor or a friend. So just again, taking this one step further, continuing to pray over this, and really don't put burdens on yourself that aren't from the Lord, but ask Him, God, does this thing that I feel like I want to do glorify you? You can apply this in the same way as work, and I didn't do that before, but I'm going to do that right here because I think it sort of fits into the same category. The work that we do here on earth, in the very beginning of creation, God put Adam and Eve in the garden, and He said to them, be fruitful, multiply, take dominion, steward well this thing that I have given you. And so for me, I believe that work fits into this category of our earthly home, reflecting our forever home. And so you can do the same thing with work. Maybe your goal is to get down to working 4 days a week, or maybe your goal is to increase your workload so that you can increase income, so that you can give to a mission that you've been looking at. Put that in the same category and then look and see. In order for that to happen, and let's use that goal as an example, I want to give X amount of money to this ministry a month. Well, if I'm not going to work extra hours, then where's that money going to come from? What can I not buy my Starbucks each day or each week? Or am I going to have to take on an extra client, whatever you do for your work, in order to make that happen? And so take these things. We're starting with the principles of loving God, loving people, and celebrating our forever home and our ability to steward our temporary home well to reflect that. And then we're going to put those down as measurable, quantifiable, put it on the calendar opportunities. And then in the next video, we'll talk about how we're going to apply that practically to what our days and our weeks look like.